Alright, we gotta have a real video today. Now, I did the Storytime video, talking about me giving blood and how much of a baby I was. And that seemed to got well received, but I realized that this is like, if there's something that prevents me from uploading a video on time that isn't just like me being lazy, I can like tell you guys about it. And there was going to be a review this Friday. It was a review of the third Madoka Magica movie. But here's the thing, it's not going to happen this Friday. I'm hoping to get it done this weekend. Yesterday was supposed to be the writing phase, but that didn't happen. Which brings me to yesterday morning, which is bar none, without any doubt in my mind, the worst morning of my entire life. I'm probably going to have worse mornings, and I dread the fact that I'm probably going to end up having worse mornings than yesterday morning. Now, first off, I am kind of a morning person. It has nothing to do with that. It's what happened yesterday morning that I hated so much. This was some of the worst things I've ever gone through. So, let me tell you about it, and you can laugh at my pain yet again. Now, last weekend, I went down to Jeff's college, and I visited him, and, his thing is that his internal clock is, set about, 5 hours later, so, he ended up going to bed at, 3 a.m. and waking up at, 2, but, that's not mine, and I hated having to do that, but otherwise I had a lot of fun going that. So then I came back and I drove home, and even 2 days afterwards, Tuesday night, I was I'm still not really that tired in midnight, so I went to bed at around 2, and then at around 5:45 a.m. I woke up because I was having this really, really awful pain in my abdomen. It was upper abdomen. It was unlike anything I've experienced in my life. It wasn't indigestion. I know what that feels like. It wasn't, oh my gosh, I'm gonna puke right now pain. It wasn't even really a cramp, because I haven't really had a cramp in that spot, but maybe it was, but it just didn't feel like anything I've ever felt in my life. And I thought, okay, maybe if I just wait a little bit, it'll go away. And, it really, really hurt. It was just so strange and so painful. After about, 30 minutes of me, laying down in my bed, trying to change positions, even getting up and walking around, see if it will make it feel better, I realized that it's not going to get better. And I thank God that I was actually at my house instead of at my dorm when this happened. If I was at my dorm when this happened, it would have gotten ugly. It would have gotten ugly. But then I decided, hey, my mom and dad are home, so I'm going to go over there and then, tell them about it. And, they were both already sort of awake, so they weren't at all mad at me for waking them up, but they were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I told them about, this really weird abdominal pain. And, okay. They originally thought it was something like indigestion or something, so they gave me Pepto-Bismol, and yesterday I realized that Pepto-Bismol is some of the most disgusting thing ever. I hated it so much, I puked it right back up. And it was one of the most painful pukes of my life. There's always it's not even just it was acid and it burnt coming out. No, it was more there's the muscle in your body that just gets a huge workout when you're vomiting, and it's that muscle was just so contracted. I was I could feel it. I could literally feel it in my ears. That one. So that didn't work. I tried taking Tums. That didn't work. So then my parents brought out the big guns. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis, and she has this weird liquid thing that she sprays on her muscles, and she sprayed it right on here. And my dad got me this pill. I think it's a Tylenol with codeine, which is real heavy stuff. And they gave me that, and that did nothing. So that's at the point where my parents started to get really worried. I was getting really worried, and it was still 6 a.m. It's not like we could just go somewhere easily and go do it. So my mom calls the pediatrician that I go to, and we arrange an appointment, and then we drive there. My dad has already left for work. The rest of the day is just me and my mom. So then we go there, and right as we pull up to the pediatrician, the pain in my abdomen just gets so much worse so fast, and I hate just thinking about it. I mean, obviously, I've never gone through this before, so I don't know how it feels like, but I assume that's sort of like how women in labor feel like. I feel like these muscles in my body are just like everything at once. They're being like ripped apart, they're being like squeezed in vice grips, they're being stomped on, they're being clawed. It's just all the pains at once, and it was just so bad. And we went to the pediatrician, and after waiting for way too long, it was probably only like 5 minutes, but it felt like an hour waiting, and the pain in my stomach was just getting worse. It's not even my stomach, it was just like my muscles just getting worse and worse and worse. And then, like, by the time that the pediatrician actually came there, I was on the verge of tears. I was, like, sweating so much. It was so painful. And then they basically said, like, we can't really do anything. Like, we don't have stuff like x-rays or stuff like that. You're going to have to go to the emergency room. So, for the first time in my life, I went to the emergency room. And while we left the pediatrician, while we were driving to the ER, I started to get the hiccups. And I don't really get the hiccups that often, but these ones were some of the most violent and painful hiccups I've ever had in my life. It was just like, it was like my body was punching itself, like really, really loud hiccups. So, like, but the weirdest thing is that with every hiccup, the pain went away ever so slightly. So I'm thinking like, yay! The pain's starting to go away a little bit. It's still there, but, I mean, I don't want to die anymore. So, but, like, obviously we're going to have to still go to the emergency room because it was still there, and it's still pretty painful. So then we go to the ER, and then do the whole thing, like, lie in a bed, put on those little, like, coat things that patients wear, and put that in, and they told me to do a urine sample, and I could not pass any urine at all. I realized at this point I am very dehydrated. And then they say they're going to have to do some blood work and get some do some IV, which of course means needles. And you know full well how I am with needles. So then we do the thing, I'm like mentally preparing myself. And then, like, they come in with the needles, and they put it in my arm, and then it's just like, I can't get any blood out. Like, you're too dehydrated, I can't get any blood out. So then the nurse tries another part of the arm, and still nothing. So that means 2 unsuccessful shots, basically. So then she gets the doctor, and he comes in and he tries a weird spot on another arm. Like, usually when you get shots like that, it's, like, right in the spot on the opposite side of your elbow. This was, like, above it. It was a weird spot on my arm, and this was still so painful. And, like, at that point, I was just, like, I had kind of almost forgotten about the abdominal pain. I was just like, no, more shots, I hate it so much. And, like, my mom is just, like, trying to help me. It's like, I can't even squeeze my mom, because I feel like if I actually, like, squeezed my mom's hand, I would break it in half. But then we, like, did the thing, and then, like, still nothing. And then, the third person came in, a nurse, and then, like, they were trying to find things, and then here's, looking back on it, something that should have, like, been, like, something out of a horror movie for me. Oh, you got a really nice vein on your hand. Yes, on the hand. So, it was on the back of my hand, it was, like, right in the middle of it, and then, like, they injected it in, and the feeling of that needle going into the back of my hand was even, okay, maybe not worse, but at the moment was something I wanted to be in, even less than the abdominal pain, like, way back when it was at its very peak. And just, like, but, like, my mom, who's on the other side of me, it was just like, no, it's good, there's blood coming out, finally. I'm like, yay, this is the last shot. I had to have 4 shots yesterday, and only one of them did anything. So then they put the IV thing in my arm, and then they hooked it up to this water thing, and I've never had IV stuff, but I realized that the water they give you is very cool. Like, it's not cold, but it's definitely cool. It's definitely lower than body temperature. So then they put it in, and it's like, I can feel it. I can so feel it. And then it just started slowly going up my arm, and it felt like my arm was dying of hypothermia. Like, my mom touched the arm where it wasn't in, and then touched the arm where it wasn't in, and she was like, wow, that is insane. So then, like, more IV stuff came in, and, I don't remember if it was after the actual tube going into my hand didn't go out for a while, but they removed the bag of water when it was empty. I was able to urinate again. Then I did that, and at one point, like, they said, and this whole thing happened within the space of, like, a few seconds, but then, one of the nurses was just like, all right, we're gonna have to scan your wristband, because they gave me a wristband when I walked in, and, like, my mom, I love both my parents, like, a lot. I have a great relationship with both my parents. My mom is just the sweetest, nicest girl, nicest woman you'll ever meet in your life, and then, like, I love her so much. But she thought it would be funny to say, right when they said, I was looking at her when the nurse said, we're going to have to scan the thing. She said, it's going to hurt like a needle. And I realized that that's a stupid thing to believe, but it's me with needles. So I just, like, freaked out. I, like, jumped around, and I was just like, no. And then, like, and then my mom was laughing, and then there was just like, she was kidding. It's scanning your bracelet. It's just scanning. And I'm like, Mom. And then, like, Mom's like, okay, I'm sorry. She's like, I feel kind of bad about it now. Like, ugh. And I was just like, you're lucky I love you so much, because, like, I thought we were friends, Mom. So then we do the thing, and then the IV is still stuck in my hand. I can look at it now that there's no needles, and it's just the weirdest thing. Like, a piece of your skin is being pinched up, and then there's something going into it. And, So then we get the urine samples and blood test back, and said there's nothing wrong. And actually, by that point, the pain in my abdomen was completely gone. They just suggested that maybe it was just because I was so dehydrated that my muscle was just like, I'm gonna show you how dehydrated I am. Give me water or else I'll rip you in half. But then they said, just to be safe, like, don't have any, like, normal food. Just eat, like, bread and water, maybe a light soup, bananas. Basically nothing really that good. I do love bread, but you can't live on bread alone. I mean, the Bible says that. So then we had to have the rest of the day where I'm eating very, very bland food, and I'm lying in my bed, and I'm just like, this has been the worst morning of my life. And then I went to bed at about, like, it wasn't even that late. It was somewhere between, like, 11 and 12. And then I woke up at 2:30 in the afternoon today. And I'm just like, okay. Like, I can tell you guys about the worst morning I've ever had in my entire life. It was just so bad. It was so bad. That's why the season 4 finale is not going to be coming out this Friday. I'm going to try to get it out on Saturday or Sunday. But for now, at least, I think I'm still decompressing from yesterday morning. The worst morning of my entire life.